Welcome to the Early Wedge Tuesday Best Bet Show. I am your host, Eric Cohen. Glad to have you here. It is our 6th show of the year, and it is a big one this week, the Genesis Invitational at Riviera. So let us bring in the stars of the show. We have so many picks for you on this show and whatever other fun we have. Jason Sobel's here. Sia Nejad's here. Patrick McDonald's here. All right, Patrick, first of all, we were talking before the show. Virginia Tech is not a bubble team. I know this is a golf show. They're 58th in the net rankings. It's like saying Harris English is going to.
How many teams are in the tournament?
Yeah, but you got a 32 conference.
How many
champions.
teams are in the tournament?
No, I don't give you that.
How many? They're expanding it, right? I can't keep track. It's like 128 right now.
Well, it's 68 technically.
Oh, so top 68 teams, and what are they in net?
58, but you got to. There's so many of the 32 automatic bids.
Lawyer.
So we have 72 in the
You're
field.
talking Ken Palm, EC. You know who invented Ken Palm? Where he went to school?
Virginia Tech.
There's that.
I'm sure we'll have more NCAA basketball debates as we go along here. But this is a golf show. There are only 72 players in this week's field. For what we've discussed, this might be the last time we see the Genesis Invitational in February for a while. Sobel, do you have any updates on that? Do we know anything about the schedule yet? Have you heard anything?
We don't, but where there's smoke, there's fire, and I would not be surprised if there's an announcement, let's say mid-March in Ponte Vedra Beach, where they announce what the schedule is going to look like for 27, and Pebble Beach and Riviera are hosting events later in the year instead of this time of year. And I'm all for it. I think having playoff events on the West Coast, let's be serious about what's happening here. Playoff events on the West Coast in the weeks before football starts, yes. Right. Who says no?
Right. Primetime golf. We all love it. All right, let's get to storylines. We have a lot to hit on this week. Thanks to all of you in the chat already. You're starting up. We will take questions along the way, but we're going to start with Patrick. It's more Scotty Scheffler talk, your favorite subject this year. Scotty.
Well, how can you talk about golf without him? But you go back to 2 years. Obviously, we didn't go to Riviera last year because of the LA wildfires. But in 2024, Scotty Scheffler, this tournament is the last time he gamed a blade in competition. Arnold Palmer Invitational, 2 weeks after. The rest is history. He puts a spider mallet in the bag, and he just keeps on winning and winning and winning. You look, since then, 40 worldwide starts, 35 top 20s, 28 top 5s, 16 wins. And so his game's obviously super well-rounded now, not quite where it was in 23, where he was just a ball-striking maestro, and then he figures it out after this. The kicker this week, guys, is his iron play is not up to the typical standard of Scotty Scheffler so far. In 23, he was number 1 on the PGA Tour in strokes gained approach. In 24, he was. In 25, he was. As it stands, he's currently number 51 on the PGA Tour in strokes gained approach. And he's doing what he's doing. So if his iron play gets back to Scotty Scheffler standards, you can kiss this tournament goodbye. And I really need him to win this one because we're below the percentage clip that we need. We're at 33% currently.
And you said 50 for those who missed the show a few weeks ago. You said he would win at a 50% clip this year. I mean, listen, the last 2 weeks, Patrick, if he doesn't start off slow, over par or even par, the last 2 weeks, he wins by daylight.
I know. He's spotting the field. He's spot the field 10 strokes, both those tournaments on Thursday.
Pretty wild. Now, Sobel, we talk about birdie fests. We saw one with the American Express. We saw one last week. And it's been very wet in California again this week. Or should we expect another one at Riviera?
Well, the great thing about Riviera is it isn't a birdie fest. In fact, most of the scoring records, if you look at tournaments that have been on the schedule for a while, most of the scoring records are like in the last 5, maybe 10 years because guys are bigger, stronger, better. They hit it further. They make more birdies. The scoring record, all-time scoring record for the Genesis Invitational is from 1985. Lanny Watkins, the only player to ever go 20 under at this tournament. I think it might be in jeopardy this week. Granted, I'm not there. I haven't seen the golf course yet, but from everything I'm hearing, look, it's raining. It's rained yesterday, rained today. It's going to rain a little bit more over the next 24 hours, potential showers throughout Thursday and some of the other ensuing rounds after that. But we're just going to have a soft, wet golf course, which I don't like playing in personally. I need all the distance I can get, make it as firm as possible. It doesn't bother these guys, and the wind is like negligible. There's nothing that's going to blow through this week. So you give them a soft, wet golf course where they can basically play target golf. I think these guys are going to go very low this week. We could have something in the 20 under or better range this week so far. First time since 1985, all-time scoring record.
Yeah, and a couple of really cool holes here at Riviera. The first hole, a fairly easy par 5 straightaway. And then the 10th hole, which is such a cool risk-reward hole. Do you go for it with the driver? Do you lay back and hit a wedge and try to stick the green there? Sobel, can you kind of tell us, like, I feel like the 10th hole there is one of the coolest holes on tour, and it kind of shapes who's going to win this event, even though it's, 8 holes from the finish.
Look, eagle or triple bogey available and everything in between at number 10. It's one of the coolest holes ever. I'm not a guy that likes to just sit at one hole and watch guys play golf. I will sit at number 10 and watch how everybody strategizes their way around that golf hole, because it's just a lot of fun. It's fun to watch these guys struggle with a short par 4. You think of it in terms of, okay, well, just go for the green. Well, you go for the green, you wind up in a bad spot. You could be making 6 in a hurry. Well, why don't you just lay up and have an easy wedge in? Because the wedges aren't that easy, especially depending on the pin placement there. There's no room to really leave an 80-yard shot. So there's no easy way to play the golf hole. You could certainly make birdie, even eagle on that hole, but you can make a big number in a hurry as well.
Sia, the chat is already on fire about the do not bet list. It's been 5 shows, 5 weeks, and the do not bet list has claimed a couple of victims. It's unfortunate. Last year, we hung in pretty well till about July, and I think Victor Hovland was the only one until July, and then it got a little messy at the end there. You want to talk about it again this week?
I mean, we're so early in the season, and we've got Justin Rose and Colin Morikawa already winners on your do not bet list. And I honestly think this week, spoiler alert, I think Rory McIlroy is going to either win the tournament or come into second place. We can get into the without Scotty thing later on. But there's another guy on your do not bet list that I happen to know a couple of other people on this show that I think could be your third strike. Mm-hmm. And it's only mid-February, EC.
No. There was a guy that I did not put on my do not bet list on purpose this year just for this event. And we'll talk more about him many times.
Patrick Cantlay.
That's correct. And I am glad. And it's a spoiler alert. And it's true. It's spoiler alert. This morning, I wake up, I see Jason Sobel's article on BetMGM, and I'm like, please, Sobel, please agree with me. And you have Patrick Cantlay on there. And that makes me feel better.
I can still change it. I didn't know you were going to agree with me, or else I wouldn't have written.
I said it on last week's show. All right.
I don't listen to you.
So yeah, I didn't think so. Nor do many. Listen, we saw one winless drought broken last week. Who is next? So I did a little math here. So Morikawa broke that 837-day winless drought last week. Adam Scott, that's a Patrick favorite, is nearly 2,200 days. Spieth is 1,400. That's another Patrick favorite. Cantlay's 1,200. Max Homa's 1,100. Matt Fitzpatrick and Sam Burns are both over 1,000. Could any of those break this week? It's kind of aligns with what Sia said. Patrick Cantlay is going to win. So we're good. I mean, I'm just spoiling the rest of the show. Patrick Cantlay will win. And Sobel and I will look very smart going into next week. Just going to say that. All right. Yeah. Let's bring on first round leaders. And all right, Patrick, you're going with a single bullet here. A guy that we got to stop with this guy.
Is it Xander? It's not Xander.
You got to stop,
oh
Patrick.
My
we
gosh.
got to stop. Go ahead.
I'm going down with the ship. I gotta get some action on this guy. He showed faint heartbeat at Pebble Beach. And so I'm going back at a venue where he's been awesome. He hasn't finished outside the top 20. He easily could have won this in 24. But that was kind of when he was pissing down his leg on the back nine of tournament phase. That was a different Xander before he became a 2-time major champion. Now he's a 2-time major champion, coming back to this tournament, showing a little form. Short game has a long way to go, but I like the rest of it right now. He's driving it great. And 28-1. Just give it a chance.
Patrick's just not afraid. We know that. It's going to be every week. All right, that's fair. I respect it.
Yeah, it's going to happen soon.
Sobel, Jordan Spieth, another guy that really we got to get it. We got to stop with the Jordan Spieth. This guy hasn't won in what did I say, 1,400 days, something like that. Come on. Now,
Well, I'm not picking him to win. That's why I'm making a single
come
round
on,
investment on Jordan Spieth.
Do you think Jordan Spieth can start off 7 under par?
Yes, absolutely. Most volatile golfer in the world. I started the season cautiously optimistic about Jordan Spieth. I've upgraded to moderately optimistic. Doesn't mean I'm playing him for an outright yet, but I think he's sort of slowly, gradually trending in the right direction. For me right now, he's still a single round investment. Like, let me play him here. Let me play him if it doesn't happen first round. I know we don't really bet second round or third round low scores, but just in a 3-ball or whatever you can get on him, because I do think that on any given day, he can go out there and shoot a 63, 64, but he can also shoot a 75 or 76 very quickly as well. So I like the volatility. I like playing volatility in first round leader bets. And then Ryan Fox, I like him this week. I like him for 4-round investments, top 20s, maybe even a top 10. I didn't really have a place for him later in the show, so I'll stick him in here for first round leader. He's been good on Thursdays for a while now.
Sia, I actually really like this list. I think this is Wyndham Clark's a sneaky one. I'll talk about him in a second, but Rory, you think he goes wire to wire, huh?
Well, I'm not betting that he goes wire to wire, but I mean, I loved how he played last week. I mean, this part of the reason I like him to win is some of the errors were so egregiously like almost comical in the sense that like you just don't expect to see it. It's like a wide open receiver dropping consecutive passes with on day one, the 2 double bogeys, the triple bogey he had. What was it? Day 3. It was day 3 because day 4 was amazing. I love Rory here. I think this is not a sexy number when it comes to first round leaders, but I think anything north of 20 to 1 is worthy of considering. So I got almost 22 to 1 here. Fitzpatrick is a guy. Listen, since show number 1, I've been talking about Matt Fitzpatrick, and I like him potentially to win this tournament. But you know, when you look at his history here, we can get into the outright conversation later, but the last 2 years have been really bad here for Matt Fitzpatrick. But that was when he was really bad. Like there was a 2-year stretch where he was really bad, and last June is when he started to pick it up. So I mean, I like his tee to green form. I like his approach numbers. All of those things look really good for him. So 38 to 1, I think he can pop. And then you mentioned Wyndham Clark. You know, with Wyndham Clark, he's just got to marry the approach and the putting together. He does have some good experience here as well. We've seen him gain on approach 4 out of the last 5, and we know he's the type of guy, speaking of volatility, that can absolutely spike. So one hot round from Wyndham Clark is practically an expectation. I just need it in round 1, 56 to 1.
Hey, in the chat, Zach, you asked in OAD, is it too early to take Tommy Ladd Fleetwood, should I say? The answer is no. This is a signature event. Remember, you want to take your big guns. We will do OAD picks later in the show. Spoiler alert, Victor Hovland is very close to the do not bet list after his performance for me last week in OAD. So I'll just say that.
You wearing swim floaties on the range?
It was pathetic. It really was.
That was in Phoenix too. Why didn't you know that, EC? Your boots on the ground.
I wasn't on the ground with the floaties. I must have been,
not working hard enough.
Apparently not. So hey, I leave the FRLs to the big boys here, and I take top 10s. These are not with ties. You can get these on DK. So Cantlay, we're going to talk a lot about him, but he's averaging a 69.3 in 10 trips here in the first round. Pretty darn good. And he has 2 FRLs in those 10 trips. I shot 7 under a couple of years ago, and then he lost for me. So he's going to make it back this week. We're getting him at plus 315. Chris Gotterup is a first-round machine, and then he kind of cools off in the second round. Plus 340 to finish in the top 10. He has 3 FRL top 4s in his last 4 events this year, which is wild. And then Wyndham Clark, who Sia mentioned, 3 FRL top 5s in 5 trips to Riviera, and he is plus 495 in this category, which is pretty good value. So this I like. You have to deal with the dead heats if it works out that way. But you know what? I'm giving it a shot here and letting Sia, Patrick, and Sobel. Well, Sia and Sobel, and then I don't know what's going on with Patrick and Schauffele there. But those two will come up with the FRLs there.
I don't know if sorry to interrupt, but I don't know if we want to change the number. We don't have to, but Mike Miller is pointing out, I didn't see this, that on FanDuel, I guess I looked at the other 2 numbers, but I didn't look at Wyndham Clark's, is 75 to 1. So instead of 56 to 1, that's a gigantic difference. So Mike Miller, he's our friend that does the parlays, if y'all remember from last year. So I know when baseball season comes, he's going to come into the show with like a home run pick plus an outright pick for a parlay. But either way, Wyndham Clark is 75 to 1 on FanDuel as first round leader. So my bad on that one.
Coming up next, I'm going with it again. I tried this in a TPC Scottsdale. It did not work, but I have a winning bet at minus 124 odds. Get ready for it after we hear from one of our sponsors.
This isn't just combat. It's cinema.
Ready or not, here I come. Let's go! Are you not entertained?
The new home of UFC, Paramount Plus.
All right. Now, this is Sia. I'm actually going to start with you because you have a round 1 3 ball, and I think that's a good way to start this out. And we'll kind of go reverse order. So do tell us your round 1 3 ball, and then you have a tournament matchup.
Yeah, it's actually not a 3 ball. It's a 3 ball matchup, but you were right with the terminology because over at DK you have round 3 balls, but then you can isolate round 3 ball matchups, which I think is a pretty cool thing. And in this case, I'll actually look at the 3 ball to see who the third guy is in this Wyndham Clark Marco Penge group. But Wyndham Clark minus 134 over Marco Penge, I like quite a bit. So, I mean, I'm on Wyndham Clark. I do understand there's a ton of volatility with Wyndham Clark, but I like how the game has rounded into form for him, especially on approach. We know he can get there with the putter. Penge is, I think, a pretty good course fit. I just think he's been so off with the metrics, whether it's the putter or the approach play. It just really hasn't been there. So even though I'm kind of spending a lot of juice here at minus 134, I absolutely think it's worth it. And then finally, Cameron Young. Now, Patrick, you might have gotten a better number than I did. So please let us know where that was. But I agree with Patrick on this one. Cameron Young, both of them, both Sam Burns and Cameron Young have good history here. And Sam Burns is definitely in better form than Cameron Young. I just happen to think Cameron Young is either as good a course fit or at least maybe a slightly better course fit. But I also think Cameron Young's going to rebound in a pretty big way. I could see Sam Burns regressing a little bit from last week. So give me Cam Young in a kind of a tight race, minus 120 over Sam Burns in a full tournament matchup.
Sia, you can tell that in Patrick's head and producer Josh in the chat about when you were talking about Penge, it's all PXG. Go ahead, Sobel.
So 2 things. First of all, Marco Penge so far this season ranks 6th in strokes gained off the tee. He is outside the top 150 in approach, around the greens, and putting. I don't know if he took a PXG putter as well, but everything's been bad. I've been tracking Marco because I like Marco so much. Not working so far. Maybe get those clubs back somehow, rip up the contract. And the other thing, Sia, I think it's Brian Campbell as the third member of that round 1. You might as well just juice up those odds and throw Wyndham Clark against both of those guys.
That's totally fair. So do you happen to know what the number is on that 3 ball? I'll take a look. But yeah, I think you could do that if you don't want to pay the juice.
And you are correct. That matchup is down to minus 120. I guess the public got into our rundown and skimmed that number a little bit.
All right, talk about it more, Patrick.
I don't need to. Sia said everything. I think Cameron Young's going to beat Sam Burns this week. Pretty much.
Okay.
I'm not a huge believer in Burns, especially after he hit an iron off the tee on the 72nd hole with a chance to still win the golf tournament. 21 under had not yet been posted. He had an opportunity to make eagle, and he hits an iron. And you know what he does? Even worse than that is he misses the fairway too. Just egregious stuff.
What was he doing? Why would he do that?
To me, it just kind of seemed like he was, maybe protecting the bank account a little bit.
Yeah, go get some FedEx Cup points.
Yeah, early in the season, nice little padding. So I just 1 week, I just, as a golf fan, I felt disrespected by that move by Sam Burns. So I'm going to go Cameron Young over him. And then, sorry, I'm looking up this Brian Campbell number for him.
It's plus 122.
Okay, yeah, I was going to say 22. FanDuel, I think, was 25.
Okay.
Plus 125. What's my next one? Ricky Fowler. He watched this show last week. He watched it last week, and he texted me, EC, so that EC guy, get him out of here. You see him sneak inside the top 20. Even though he was inside the top 20 all week, bounced out, then he bounced back in. Classic Ricky. He's driving it great right now. Kind of like last week at Pebble, doesn't really have great history here, but I'm okay overlooking that at plus 105 over Victor Hovland, who talked about this today on the Golf on CBS show. Victor Hovland right now in terms of ball speed is slower than Tom Hoagie. He's slower than Denny McCarthy. He is just faster. You know who he ranks right above? Aaron Rye. There is something going on with the driver right now, and it has been a trend for the last couple seasons. So he's trying to figure out that club, and you're going to have to drive the ball well this week, I think. And so I'll take Fowler at that plus money.
Sobel, a guy that I guess now it's time to fade after a great start to the season is Siwoo Kim.
Yeah. I'm kind of on the Siwoo ship has sailed train right now because I just think that he played really well for the first month of the year, and I don't know that he's going to keep it going. And I love Russell Henley in these types of plays, whether it's top 10, top 20, matchup plays. He always has a high floor. I really like him against Siwoo this week. I like Shane Lowry, who was very good last week. Look, again, another guy with a very high floor. I'm not sure I want to play him for outrights. I'm not sure I even want him for top fives, but the performance level is basically really good on a week in, week out basis. And I want at least some sort of investment on Shane Lowry, and I'll take him over Jason Day. And by the way, I might like Cameron Young over Sam Burns, which both Patrick and Sia have even better than both of mine. So I'm on board with that as well.
And then Sia, look at this play that I have here. The big guns against the field. I tried at the Phoenix Open, and the names weren't nearly as good as we're getting this week. We got 8 guys against the field at minus 124.
Yeah.
Scotty Scheffler, Rory McIlroy, Patrick's boy Xander Schauffele,
Big
Tommy
gun.
Fleetwood, Hideki Matsuyama, Colin Morikawa, Cam Young, and Patrick Cantlay against the field. I get 8 guys against 64. And one of these 8 guys is going to win. Who says no to this number at minus 124? Like I want to unload some of my bank account and put it on this play. That's how I like it. Yeah, go ahead, Sia.
Who says no?
I don't know that I'm like in love with the bet because I don't know, maybe if it was like minus 110 or something, I'd feel a little bit better, but not that, I mean, I don't know. There's a few guys on this list that I don't think are going to win that I wouldn't mind replacing. That's the thing. But this is a pretty solid list. I mean, just Scheffler, McIlroy, and Fleetwood alone,
And
I think is pretty strong.
And
No, not also Cantlay. Cantlay's like the next level.
Yeah, like Cantlay is like a water gun.
Moshe in the chat says, "How does this lose?" He was expecting it. How does this lose again? Congratulations, you nailed that prop bet. Mitchell, do I have a $200 free bet? No, I don't. This would have to be cash only. Sobel, you're giving me a look on this one. Come on. How does this lose? How does this lose?
Because I got a guy that's on the no bet list that might win this week, and he's not in your big gun list.
Okay, fair enough. And then you know what, Patrick, this is for you. Top Oceania, Adam Scott.
This is Top Oceania has gotten really tough. EC. All these guys can pop.
All the sharps.
You tried it last week with Jason Day.
And it did not work out.
No, Minwoo Lee had a big week. I get it. But Adam Scott's course history: 16 trips, 2 wins. 4 top 2s. He's only lost strokes 1 time off the tee in 16 trips. In 3 events this season, he's gained more than 13 strokes combined ball striking. Forget around the green and putting. Who needs those? He hasn't been good. But he's so good off the tee and on approach, and that's what you need at this event. He has to beat Minwoo, Jason Day, Ryan Fox, and we're getting almost 2-1. Patrick, come on.
Music to my ears. Music to my ears. I totally agree.
Anytime you're like legitimately counting on Adam Scott and Jason Day, they will let you down 99% of the time.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, it's just one of those things. Anytime it's like, oh, it's Jason Day week or Adam Scott, the ball striking is amazing. They end up finishing like T29.
All-time trap guys.
I don't know.
They're kind of like the Steelers, you know? Like once you think they're good, they're not.
I'm just going to throw it out there. It's cold. It's wet. This could be one of those Thursday after DFS lock. Thursday morning, late morning, early afternoon. Jason Day gets the sniffles and might not be around. I'm just throwing it out there. It's one of those.
We're due for one of those.
How far away is Disneyland?
It's not far.
Yeah. See, now every time I bet Jason Day, he pulls that. By the way, it's like clockwork. So that's why we had to go Adam Scott for Patrick. And Josh in the chat says, can't wait for Scott to be the reason the big guns lose. All right, so hey, if I put a unit on each, I'm still profiting 0.74 units if Adam Scott wins against the big guns. So it's okay. At least we'll make money in this category. All right. See, we have finishing positions, an area where I have absolutely stunk this year. So let's go to the guys who are a lot better than I am. Patrick, we'll start with you. Wow, Siwoo Kim, how about that?
Yeah, I'm a little concerned about the motor and kind of what the fuel gauge is reading right now. The guy's played in every single tournament so far this year, which is a little bit concerning. But, ball striking numbers, he's just hitting it so well right now that this is what, 72-man field? Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. Correct. Yep.
Top 20 at plus 110. I'm gonna say he can figure out the short game a little bit and putting and kind of creep inside that. And then this play I love, Harris English top 20 at plus 120. He's driving it great as well. Yep. He has a good history here the last 2 years finishing inside this mark. He won in California. I wish it was playing a bit more difficult. That's the one thing I don't love going his way. I think if it was firm and fast and the winning score was kind of mid-teens, that would definitely help someone like English more. But even still, I love this play at plus 120.
Mike in the chat, thank you. The Palisades to Disney, about 50 miles along the 405. Thank you. That's good to know. Jason Day will be there over the weekend. Sobel, you know, there is a cut in this event, by the way.
That's 5 teacup rides.
He's got Disneyland this week, Disney World in a couple. Like, it's a big stretch for him.
All right. I hate to interrupt. I'm pulling a Sia here with random questions. The worst ride at Disneyland is, I vote teacups.
All of them.
Never been.
All
Sia, come on. Help me out here. Patrick, come on.
I'm not a big Disney guy, so I mean, I don't really know what to tell you about like teacup rides are everywhere. So yeah, those are silly. But
like amusement parks kids in general is like a layer of hell for me.
Yeah, agree. And EC, are you still doing the teacup rides? That's probably why you hate them. They're for 3-year-olds.
So I went, it's been about,
I hate doing this, but I got to.
It's been 6 years, Sia, and I was dating a girl in Orange County, and she took me to Disneyland, and the first ride, the Tower of Terror is that is horrible and cruel to anybody. The teacups and Small World are also cruel to adults.
Did you keep a brave face on the Tower of Terror? Or were you screaming?
You're darn right I did, Patrick. A very brave face. Very good, Sia.
Disneyland's expensive, so like she took you on the date. Did she pay for the ticket? How did that work?
I think she had a pass for her, and I paid for my own ticket.
Big spender.
Okay. No, but I bought the food and the whole thing. But she goes all the time. Yeah.
No big deal. Hit an 11-part tennis parlay the next night, made up for the whole thing.
All good.
No, so actually, Sobel, the next day, and I'll move on. I took her to an XFL game, and I had a bet on it. I'm dead serious. No, this was actually a month later that I took her to an XFL game. I had a bet on it, and I didn't tell her. And I bet the LA whatever they were with Josh Johnson as starting quarterback, who's played on 16 different teams or something like that. He was playing as a quarterback, and they were playing the Washington, D.C. team.
Defenders.
The Defenders, yep.
They were good.
And I had LA, and Josh Johnson got it done for me. So there you go. That's what you got to do. It's all about betting on trips to the OC. And then that never happened again. All right, let's move along here.
The one that got away.
That was the end of that.
What's she doing? What's she up to? Let's get her back.
We'll talk about that another time.
Yeah, that was very good.
Hashtag she hate me. That's going to start trending, I'm pretty sure.
We're still friends, but not that good of friends. All right.
I think you're still friends.
See ya. Matt Fitzpatrick, you talked about on the early edge this morning. What do you got?
Matt Fitzpatrick, I don't want to belabor the point. Mike McClure, I want to give him a shout out. He talked about Matt Fitzpatrick on Monday's Early Edge show as well. Not in the context of giving out a pick, but likes him in this tournament. Matt Fitzpatrick's ball striking is reminiscent of what we saw at the end of the year last year. Again, he started to turn his game around from a consistency standpoint, June of last year, and he's just really taken off since then. The reason why his outright number and his numbers in general are perhaps a bit longer than I would expect, which I'm happy with, is that the short game hasn't been very good for Matt Fitzpatrick, whether it's the putter over the last few tournaments or some of the around the green play. It's been a little choppy, but honestly, I think that's just beginning of the season stuff. I think he's really rounding into form. The putter's starting to round into form a little bit relative to a few tournaments ago. So a top 20, I gave this out on the early edge this morning, as you know, I think is pretty comfy. This is including ties at plus 104. And frankly, I think Fitz is live to win with a guy like Rory McIlroy, top 10, plus 118. I think Rory's playing really, really well. It's a couple of really bad errors that I don't think he's going to replicate this week that really kept him out of contention. I think he's in really good form, and a top 10 seems very reasonable in this particular field, plus 118.
Sobel, you're taking that to another level. And I actually like this play. This is a really sharp play. Does this include ties, Scotty and Rory, top 5?
I have no idea. I thought we shut this thing down after She Hate Me. I thought we were just done for the year. Like, bye, going out on a high note. See you later, everybody. I mean, what else do we do after that? All right. Yes. Okay. Back to him. Yes. Look, I actually like Rory more than I like Scotty this week, believe it or not. But
Wow.
I still think Scotty's going to be up there because Scotty didn't play well the last 2 weeks on Thursday and still got right back into the top 5. So there's no reason to think that he won't be somewhere around there. So I'm taking both of them for a top 5 parlay. I really like Rory. Like Sia said, you got a wet golf course where you basically just bomb it off the tee. It's ball striking. Look, Rory lost by 5 last week. I know he was never really in it, but lost by 5 with a triple and 2 doubles and a bad bogey on a par 5 on Friday afternoon. There was just there are a lot of just sort of early year rust kind of mistakes that if he gets those in check a little bit, he's going to be right there. And this is a good place for him. I really like Rory, like I said, more than Scotty, but I'll take both of them together for a top 5. Then I'm just going to keep banging the Pearson Cootie drum for as long as I can, and as long as they're giving me this kind of number for a top 20 in a 72-man field. This is actually a ridiculous number for Pearson Cootie. And like I said, he's got to finish. Do the math for me. You see what, like top 35%, something like that? 30%? Sure, I'll take it. The guy's playing great golf right now.
30%-ish, something like that for a top 20. I like that at plus 160. What a great comment by Kegan KC. I gotta give him props for this, even though it's against me. He says, I tuned in just in time to see 2 things I don't believe. EC had a date and EC won a bet. Fair point. I can't really argue. I mean, it's a great comment. Go ahead, Sia.
I was going to ask a question. The chat is on fire, by the way. Other than the fact that we've got a good amount of people watching on YouTube and our watch to like button ratio isn't great. It's bordering on 3-1. I mean, just 2-1 would be awesome. But I was going to ask any of you, really, Patrick, I'll just tee it up for you. Like, what do you think about not having course experience here? Because there are guys like Pearson Cootie and Chris Gotterup, and I think Jake Knapp, who may not have experience here, that are playing really, really good golf, that you can make the argument that they're very good course fits, but they've never played the Genesis Invitational before.
I think a course like Riviera, it does matter. We've seen guys show up here without really much form, but obviously comfortable and they know how to play it. I think the one thing going for them this week is it's going to be soft. I think that helps a lot for debutantes. So I think at a course like Riviera, it does typically matter, but this week you might be a little bit easier for him.
Mike says in the chat, Cootie is plus 190 in the top 20 on FD. Make sure that includes ties. That's always important, especially with these finishing positions. Now, these numbers that I'm giving out include ties. Tommy Fleetwood, top 5 plus 360, top 10 plus 168. Listen, the guy has 19 straight rounds in the 60s on the PGA Tour. I mean, how can I argue with that? In 4 trips here, his finish has improved every time, and he was top 10 here, or his T10 here in 2024, and he's gained on approach, tee to green, and total on the field here in all 4 trips. He's putted great here in the last 2 times he played at Riviera. I think he finishes in the top 10. I don't think he contends for the win, but I think he plays pretty darn well, and we're going to cash these because I need to get positive in this category. It has been a rough start to the year. Harris English, fortunately, I share that with Patrick at plus 120 in the top 20. And then just because I need to flatter Patrick more, Adam Scott, top 20 at plus 130. I mean, if you're ever going to play Adam Scott, it's probably here, right? Like, this is how good he is. Did that guy's ever tell you the story? I think I probably had 2020. I had a parlay bet. It was Adam Scott to win at Riviera and Ryan Newman to win the Daytona 500. Now, I don't know if you know what happened with Ryan Newman in the Daytona 500.
Nope.
He was winning coming into the last turn and got wrecked, flipped upside down and almost died.
Selfish.
And
How selfish of him.
Was unconscious for like days, woke up and then I guess was okay. But I was that close to it. Was a $2 bet to win $2,500 on the Adam. It was like a Sobel like parlay. Ryan Newman, Adam Scott. Adam Scott hits on a Sunday, Daytona 500 pushed to Monday, watching my guy in the last lap, final turn in first place and gets flipped.
Didn't that happen at the Daytona 500 2 days ago? Like a crash at the very end of the race and somebody who won didn't deserve to win?
So that's true. I also in that race had Carson Hocevar, who was leading entering the final lap. He was only 20 something to 1. It would have been nice. And of course he gets spun out as the lap starts. Yeah.
Happened in Phoenix too. Hideki crashed at the end and Gotterup won.
Sobel, really? Speaking of crashing, I'll tell you another thing that's crashing.
It's the wall.
My no bet list.
Boards.
Yeah. My no bet list is crashing. We'll
Yeah.
talk more about it after we hear from one of our sponsors.
When you need your sports news all the time,
We've got breaking news to bring to you.
CBS Sports HQ gives you a snapshot of all the sports that matter to you. When you need your sports in a snap, find it on CBS Sports HQ, streaming free anywhere you are.
All right, Matt. Producer Matt behind the scenes. Let's see the graphic you made. You and Josh. Yep, there it is. All right, guys. If you're watching on the YouTube, that's 2 X's out of 13 there. We're going to add some more names soon. Victor Hovland's close. Can't lay. If he doesn't show up this week, he's close. Go ahead, Sia.
I just want to acknowledge some potential symmetry here. So at the top of the list, we've got 2 names and then we got an X. Then we've got 2 names and then we've got an X. And we've got 2 names. And this week, we probably have an X with Matt Fitzpatrick.
No,
How perfect is this? Now we know Matt Fitzpatrick is winning.
And then maybe at the Cognizant too.
Yep. Yeah. 2 names, then another X. I love it.
No, guys.
Jeez.
Cognizant. We got this on lockdown. Ryan Gerard, Jake Knapp at the Cognizant. You're welcome. Telling you a week early. There you go. Telling you a week early. And Jeff Stenberg, I see you in the chat. I know you've been waiting for this. I know you want to bet all the guys on my no bet list, but if you had last week, you would have some great sweats with Akshay Bhatia, who is up there. Of course, Morikawa, who came out of nowhere in the 3rd round. Who else was in there? Fitzpatrick was okay. Shane Lowry was okay. Matsuyama was up there. Russell Henley had moments. I mean, we're going to add to this list. Victor Hovland is close. As I said, Cantlay is close if he doesn't do it this week. So let's
How do you
get
feel
into
about the over/under 5.5?
it's off to a rough start, but you know what?
I feel great about the over, especially since you added Hideki.
Yeah.
Now, Jeff says just beat EC's list. Just bet EC's list, and you'll defeat poverty.
Defeat it.
EC,
Worldwide.
in your defense, having a lot of players up there last week, other than Morikawa, who was on the list and we had to cross out. But that's kind of the point of the do not bet list is these guys get into contention and then they don't win. So having Akshay up there and leading by 5 with 27 holes left to play and not winning, that's kind of the whole point of having him on there.
Yeah.
And by the way, I want to point out SportsLine Discord. See, you're always in there and giving great nuggets. For once, it's probably the first time I've ever done this, threw in a great nugget in the SportsLine Discord after day 1. I think it was on Thursday night or Friday morning. I said the leader or the winner in 24 and 25 at Pebble Beach was 6 strokes back after day 2. And Colin Morikawa was 6 strokes back after day 2. So that's 3 in a row.
Another thing is that the night before the final round, somebody was like, I want to put a bet on Akshay Bhatia plus 190 to win the tournament. He had that 2-stroke lead at the time. And I'm like, even if you liked Akshay Bhatia, now's not the right time to do it because that number is likely to get longer before he even tees off. And it certainly is likely to be longer on his first 9 unless he has like the same exact start he had on that Saturday. So just talking about the SportsLine Discord for a second, though, like I want to be in there even more, but it's times like that where people want to throw in a live bet or something like the night before or on a Friday night, for example, where we can impart some knowledge and maybe get you on some things like that.
Yeah, except I gave out Sam Burns live on Sunday. I should know better. He was on the no bet list. Yeah, I know. This is what happens. All right. He'll win this year. Sam Burns will win this year against a weaker field. Whoops on that one. All right, let's see what we got this week. All right, Patrick. Wow, you know what? Going down the board here, not afraid. Well, I mean, we know you picked Scotty in your CBS article at cbssports.com. But in case Scotty doesn't win, tell us about these 2 players.
Harris English, already mentioned. I found these 2 at an establishment that makes books. So Harris English at 46.5 to 1. Guy just shows up in big time events, and this is one of those. So like him this week at that number, playing great. Has played great here too, and short game's important here. I think he has a very underrated short game in general. And then Maverick McNeely's kind of been, a hot name in the streets and Phoenix, and then going to Pebble, of course, with all the history there. Didn't putt great last week at Pebble, which is probably a surprise given his proficiency on POA, but we're on it this week. You get him at 55 to 1. Still hit the ball great. Played well here the last time. It was at Riviera as well, and so he has those California ties, and I like the number. I think he's in for a win this year. This might be one step above, perhaps, but it might not also. That's why you bet it.
As you can see, I like the McNeely pick, so I'm good with that. But Sobel, the pick that I love, so much so that I'm betting it twice. Patrick Cantlay. Why do you like Patrick Cantlay?
Look, he's been trending in the right direction. He basically does enough to fool us on a weekly basis into thinking, okay, he's almost right there. Shot, 65 on Sunday at Pebble in tough conditions. It's like, oh, here comes Patrick Cantlay. And I'm sure he's going to break our hearts and finish T9 this week. And we go, oh, but, pretty good weekend. And we say, next time he plays, I might bet Patrick Cantlay because he played pretty well on the weekend. He's trending in the right direction. Look, if Colin Morikawa can win for the first time in 2.5 years, then Cantlay can win for the first time in 3 years. I really do.
Yes.
He loves this golf course, playing in his hometown. If he doesn't win, like you said, EC earlier, if he doesn't win here, I don't know when or where he wins because this is the perfect spot for him. Cameron Young, I got talked into. A lot of people on Cameron Young this week, and I started thinking about it and said, look, I like him all year. This is a great spot for him. Anytime it's thick rough and got to hit it long off the tee in a soft golf course, Cameron Young makes a whole lot of sense. I believe he was runner-up here in his debut a few years ago. And then Matt Fitzpatrick, it might actually be my favorite play. Top 15 the last 2 weeks, tee to green. He's been very good. This, even though he only has one top 5, and that's his best finish inside the top 30. Everything else has been 30th or worse in 5 starts. This is the kind of place that can get Matt Fitzpatrick's interest. He doesn't like tournaments where 27 under wins and, you got to make a ton of birdies. Making par here is not going to be bad. We think now if the conditions are so soft, the guys are shooting 64 every day, then maybe that changes. But I do like Fitz a lot this week. I think he can do some damage here.
See, we didn't reference it earlier, but I want to give you a tip of the cap. And this was in the long shot section, but it was still an outright last week. You gave out Jacob Bridgman in the without market at 98-1 and got a really, really good sweat out of it. That was a great pick. So I want to point that out before we go.
Gosh, his ball striking really went away down the stretch. I mean, he was he was in the fairway a decent amount. I don't know if it was he couldn't judge the wind. I don't know, or if he just got nervous in the moment. But every time I thought he was like going to keep pace with Colin or Burns, he would just like fly one. And I'm like, what? On the beach, but also before that, it was crazy. I thought I had a real shot. And we had Fleetwood. Listen, it was a bad week for me last week, but we had a chance to dig out of that and then some with Fleetwood or Bridgman.
All right, tell us about you're playing with the without Scotty Scheffler, Mark.
Yeah,
and so go ahead, explain.
No, I was just going to say, like, I don't know that I need to justify the picks because we've talked about them. Maybe I'll expound upon Cameron Young real quick, but this is pretty conservative in 2 different ways. So one way is obviously it's conservative because I'm taking Scotty out of it, and the other part is, obviously the numbers are going to diminish. They're going to get shorter, but I'm also taking 3 guys in that market that are 30-1 or less. So sometimes people ask me, especially on the front end of the season, like how I like divvy up the money. For those of you that don't already know, I don't even put typically a full unit total on my outrights because my units are on my round matchups and my tournament matchups, things like that. It's usually somewhere in that 0.7 units. Again, everybody's unit size is different, but 0.7 units. And the idea is to win 7 or 8x on my outrights. So in other words, if I'm, betting $10, I'm trying to win 70 or 80. In this case, I had to put, because these are such short numbers, I had to put a little bit more. So I'm almost at a full unit on these. But again, Rory at 12-1 without Scotty, Cam Young at close to 24-1 without Scotty, and Fitz at 30-1 without Scotty. Agree on the Fitzpatrick sentiment. We've talked about it. Cam Young was second here during his debut. He's been really good with the ball striking here. The short game has been hit or miss. And I think his approach play is going to bounce back. I just, it's the beginning of the season. I think he's close to superstar level. I think his approach play, which has been pretty bad so far, is going to bounce back. So I like him. And then already talked about Rory. I think all 3 of these guys are very live to win this tournament.
I want to give Mitchell Smith a lot of credit in the chat. He says he took a 9-leg top 20 bet of the guys playing in this event that are on the no bet list. A 9-leg top 20 is plus 148,887. That's a lot of money if you want to take a shot and fade me. Good luck with that. But hey, I appreciate the dedication and putting that together. Patrick Cantlay is going to win this golf tournament, and I did not make a Sia Jacob Bridgman the first time size bet, nor did I make a Jason Sobel DFS size bet. But I made enough where I would feel comfortable at about half that size if he wins the golf tournament outright with Scotty Scheffler. And I will feel pretty good about that number. if that happens. And then just in case he doesn't and Scotty wins, I'm going to bet it again. So we got plus 2,800 without Scotty, plus 2,350 with Scotty, or other way around, plus 2,800 with Scotty, plus 2,350 without Scotty. And then I'm playing Mav McNeely at plus 3,600 without Scotty. Now, I know it was a different golf course last year. He finished second in this event, so you can't say that's a thing once again. But Patrick laid out all the reasons that I like Mav McNeely. So I'm taking a shot here. I believe I was going to go single bullet here with Patrick Cantlay. He will win the golf tournament, and he owes me. He owes me from 2 years ago.
Oh,
this guy,
okay.
Patrick, he was 5 clear after the second round. I was getting a 2/3 cash out, and I didn't take it, and I let it ride. I said, "This is a winner. I got a winner." Yeah.
Do you remember every bet that you've ever lost? I mean, so far we've heard about Josh Johnson, Ryan Newman, and now McNeil. I mean, this is like, have you ever forgotten a bet? Just let it go.
2014 Bahamas Bowl was one of the worst. Sobel. Look up the end of it was a 28-point fourth quarter meltdown involving a Hail Mary with 6 laterals. Central Michigan and Western Kentucky.
Yeah,
it is one of the worst.
You deserve that one. You
Look it up.
deserve that one.
The Bahamas Bowl. Look it up. It's one of the craziest finishes, and then they go for 2 instead of playing for overtime. It's disgusting. Anyways, I remember this. Patrick Cantlay was one of the sickest beats until Max Grazerman and then Hideki Matsuyama came.
The sickest. He literally got sick.
He literally got sick. So as long as he's in good health, he's going to win the golf tournament, and we're going to celebrate. Sobel and I'll pop champagne next week on the show.
Oh,
okay. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if we're allowed to do that, but okay, fair enough. You think I would know how to pop a champagne? No chance. All right, moving on to long shots here. What do we have? Sobel, we'll get to that later. All right. Patrick's out on this one. Go ahead, Sia.
I mean, I'm sorry. I'm reading Zach Kasenki's comment. Sia, that Rory pick is fire. He is like Cam Winston to Fraser Crane. Y'all remember Cam Winston from Frasier?
Oh, that's classic. That's a classic.
He was like his rival. Cam Winston was Fraser's rival. What a reference. All right, I'm sorry. We're talking about my parlay. It's only 44-1. I don't have a long shot play because, again, those 3 outrights were on the shorter end. I just didn't want to mess with any other outright. So I've got a parlay here. It's a top 30 parlay plus McIlroy top 10. The top 30s are Fitzpatrick, Pearson Coody, again, who doesn't have experience here, but I think his game is just too good to not top 30. Wyndham Clark, who I think is going to be a bit of a surprise this week. Chris Gotterup, again, another guy who doesn't have any experience here, but is just playing at a different level. And Jake Knapp, again, another guy who has no experience here, but is playing at a different level. All 5 of those guys, top 30. McIlroy, top 10 is 44-1.
It's a good bet. I like it. I'm okay with that. All right, Sobel. Do you want to read it, or do you want me to go for it?
I'll read the first 2. Yeah, I'll do the first 2. Yeah. Matt Fitzpatrick, Casey Jarvis.
And
take it away. Say your name. Say it.
Pajaree Anannarukarn.
Very close. Anannarukarn. Pajaree Anannarukarn.
Where'd you come up with that one?
Thailand this week. She's a native of Thailand. She was T17 last year. I believe finished second in her last start of last year. Hasn't played yet this year, but I believe that's because she's back home preparing for this one. She's at 75-1 in the outright market. I'm just going to throw her with Fitz, who's obviously going to win this week, and Casey Jarvis, who has been playing nicely, going back and forth between the DP World Tour and the Challenge Tour, and it's just a little 73,000-1. And guys, look, you don't have to play that alongside me, but how bad is everybody watching going to feel next week if I hit a 73,000-1 parlay and you were like, nah, that's okay? By the way, it's actually, I think it's $1.36 because I wanted to get it up to 6 figures.
Okay. I would put Patrick Cantlay in there instead, but okay. I don't know. I've never heard of Casey Jarvis.
I actually do have that with Cantlay as well.
Have you heard of Mike Jarvis?
Just a hedge.
Who did he coach?
George Washington.
GW.
Nice.
Yeah, come on, man.
Oh, sorry, I didn't. Okay, look at you guys.
See,
show
we
off.
talked about this. We talked about this off the air earlier. We need to have Buckets on to pronounce some of these names.
Yeah,
Buckets is such a pro with some of these names, that these soccer names he throws out.
It's pretty good actually, because all he knows is soccer, but he really knows his soccer.
I guaranteed he would have gotten that in the first try. All right, my long shots here. Scotty Scheffler, in case he wins the golf tournament, I need to have a parlay, and it's 80-1. Look at this one. Scotty to win. Tommy Fleetwood top 10. Patrick Cantlay top 10. Matt McNeely top 20. I mean, that's we're in play, and that's with ties. I mean, we got a shot at 80-1 there. And then how about this one? Scotty and Patrick Cantlay top 5. So Cantlay disappoints again. Rory McIlroy and Tommy Fleetwood top 10, 60-1 with ties. I mean, I feel like
this is Cantlay. T11 is gonna hit like
Yeah,
crack.
I'm thinking T21
Yeah.
for Cantlay. Sorry,
Yeah.
guys.
Guys, this is going to be a painful Sunday for me if Patrick Cantlay is not. If he does
Hopefully
it
he's there,
again.
you know.
I'm so
Yeah,
torn. I'm really torn this week. For as much as I want to win, I also kind of want to see you lose, EC. So I'm being pulled in two different directions.
Here's the thing. From a social clip standpoint, if Patrick Cantlay wins, it's so good for our show. I'm going out on a limb. Patrick Cantlay will win this golf tournament. He owes me this golf tournament. He owes me.
If we're talking social media, Matt, if you could give EC a one shot, can you just do a look into the camera? Patrick Cantlay is winning the Genesis Invitational, and that you guarantee it?
Patrick Cantlay is going to win the Genesis Invitational. I'm not guaranteeing it, but I will close to say close to a guarantee.
Boo.
Soft.
Boo. Patrick Cantlay is going to win this event. He owes me from 2 years ago. He does. Me.
That's your analysis.
Not anyone else. Me.
All right, fair enough.
Social
I
clip.
guarantee my Fitzpatrick, Casey Jarvis, Pajaree, and Anannarukarn parlay is going to hit this week.
Let's bring in a guy who
73,000.
actually may know who that Anannarukarn name is. Producer Josh, are you in the house yet? Is he here for
Josh
OAD
is here?
time? There he
Let's
is.
go.
There we go.
There he is.
Do not bet list better.
See, I saw what you were posting in the chat about the do not bet list. You love it. Like these guys, when the do not bet loses, or there's a winner on there, you love that, don't you?
Adding an X to the graphic is just highlight of my week. 100%. Highlight of my week. But you bringing me in on the terms of I know who Anannarukarn is also is fair play. Fair play.
I thought you would. You're a golf savant. Patrick, do you know who
That's generous.
is? Did you know who that is?
Oh, Pajaree Anannarukarn.
She looks dialed.
Yeah.
I'm in on that bet.
She's 26 years old. She joined the tour in 2019 and has 2 career wins.
Look at her admiring the ball flight.
Right there for you, EC, too.
She looks dialed. All right, speaking of dialed, let's get to OAD where I am not dialed because I took a guy that doesn't know how to hit a driver last week. Yeah, it's ugly. So look at Josh.
Look at that lead.
Josh up top
Josh.
here.
Okay, nobody should be
460.
celebrating short of 500K. I mean, let's be honest.
Listen, Josh is close to the top 20. He's in the top 25%. The rest of us are not. Go ahead, Josh. What do you got?
I've got Rory McIlroy this week. Couple different reasons. One, Rory McIlroy can win anywhere. Two, he did that thing where he blamed his iron play on the cavity backs when he started in the Middle East, and then he promptly gained almost 7 strokes ball striking. In approach at Pebble. So that seemed to have some legitimacy to it. And then I'm playing a little bit to the golf romantic that is Rory McIlroy. He's talked a lot about his schedule being, conscious about the places that he's going to play. And the list after, checking Augusta off, the list of places that Rory hasn't won, especially just on the normal PGA Tour schedule, there aren't very many courses that I think he'd really like to win at ahead of Riviera. So, and, it's a long golf course. You got to hit it high, got to hit it straight. And if it's wet and cold, it helps to hit it higher and straighter than just about everybody. If the 7,300 yard Riv is playing, something more like 7,500 or 7,600. So
Good point.
for all of those reasons, I will gladly root for Rory McIlroy this week.
It's a good top 5, top 10 pick. I admire it. See, you're doing the same.
Yeah. I came on here last week and said Patrick Cantlay is going to do that thing where he's not in contention and then play pretty well and bank me a decent amount of money in a signature event. That's exactly what he did. And he'll probably do that again this week, EC.
No, he's not. Nope. See ya, Rory. Great pick. Great top 5, top 10. That'll get you some money. That's a good pick.
Cosign Josh. I definitely think he can win. I don't mind using him early. Obviously, this is an absolutely huge purse. I will say that if I was going to go like moderately contrarian down the board, it was going to be Matt Fitzpatrick. But I'll take Rory here.
Patrick, we need to have a discussion here. Of all the places that Scotty Scheffler is probably going to win this year.
Yeah.
This is not, I would not put this up at the top of my pick. Are you getting desperate this early?
That's why you use him now. Everyone's going to look to API, Players, Masters. There's going to be huge ownership at those three events. This week, you have a 72-man field and at a golf course that he can win at. So I'm going to use him. I think people are too afraid to use him this early in the season. And with $4 million on the line and a 72-man field, you can probably trim that down to like 30, honestly, who have a chance to win this. If that, maybe 20, maybe
8.
1. Scotty Scheffler. Yeah, I think he figures out the iron play. The iron play has been bad for him so far, and all he's done is contend. And he's going to shoot like 4 under on Thursday and be fine and win this golf tournament.
Would you consider fading him in round 1 after what we've seen the first 2 weeks?
I don't really think there's going to be a huge correlation there, tournament to tournament. Okay. So no, not really. If anything, I'd expect him to bounce back in a round 1 after 2 straight bad ones. It's very unusual for him in general. Also, I know what Patrick's really doing here because we all understand Scotty is like, probably going to win every tournament he's in. And he knows, Patrick, that we do this show every single week. And now he gets to be towards the top of the leaderboard. And when we're looking at this graphic, Patrick's probably going to be at the top because he's chose Scotty early. I think it's pretty good just self-marketing, self-promotion for him.
Hey, Sobel in the chat, Sites 501 says Sobel's parlay got 10 cents of my money for a 10K payout. Respect. Matt Fitzpatrick.
That sounds like no respect at all. Only 10 cents. I told him $1.30 gets you 100,000, but that's okay. All right, we'll go for 10K. I like it. Yeah, Matt Fitzpatrick. Look, like I said, I've got Cantlay and Cameron Young in the outright market, but I think Fitzpatrick is my favorite play on the board this week. Hitting the ball really well, tee to green, and this one, like I said, I don't think every golf course out there really piques his interest. This one should pique his interest at Riviera.
Once again, sorry, Josh. Patrick Cantlay is going to win this golf tournament. This is his time. And if he isn't, you're going to be adding another name to the graphic next week. And I think Sobel's with me. And Patrick's with me, and Sia's definitely there. Patrick Cantlay, you don't win this week, you're probably getting added to the no bet list.
Matt, if you want to get ahead on work for next week, you could probably go ahead and add Patrick's name right now if you'd like while you're on the while you're in the groove.
I just want to ask a couple of names that popped up in the chat earlier. Sobel, I'll start with you. Bob McIntyre. We haven't talked about him. Any thoughts?
Meh, not really. Doesn't really strike me as a guy that's going to play great golf here. Haven't seen him on the West Coast. Poe Greens for McIntyre. That maybe. I don't know. He's not going to be on my radar at all.
Patrick, Ludwig won this event at Torrey Pines. No, we're out.
Next question.
We're not doing it.
Bad.
We're out.
Not good. Right. Fade Lud.
Okay. See ya. Justin Rose won a few weeks ago. Thoughts?
I don't know. I mean, I want to say I don't think it's like the best course fit for Justin Rose, but I think he's going to have a fine tournament. I think he's probably going to top 20. I just don't see him beating some of these top guys. He'll probably be ahead of Patrick Cantlay, but as far as like Scotty and Rory and some of the other guys we like, I'm not so sure.
All right, Josh, last one for you. 29-1 in the outright market. Russell Henley. Would you? I mean, he's on the no bet list for a reason. Would you entertain it just for that reason?
I mean, I'm in like the Patrick. I'm in like the third row of the Russ bus, so I'm not driving the bus. I wouldn't try to claim that, but I don't know. Riv feels like a lot to bite off for somebody with Russ's game, but I don't know. He also won at Bay Hill, so if it was firm and fast, I'd be more enticed to give him a look. But if it's going to be really long and really soft, that's a tough spot to get to, especially at sub 30-1.
The Russ bus is missing a wheel. I'll say that.
Guys,
no.
It's just driving slower in bad weather.
What's going on with Patrick Cantlay's bus?
Being cautious.
We're going to find out how Patrick Cantlay's bus is rolling this weekend. when he wins the golf tournament. We're going to
doesn't
celebrate.
even have a vehicle. He's walking.
Russ is a poor man's Colin, and he's a rich man's JT Poston.
Ooh. Patrick
Poor man's
Cantlay's bus
Colin?
is the one that always shows
You
up
heard
late to school but gets you to home on time. So that you think the next day, like, oh, the bus wasn't too bad. I still got home on time, but you were sitting around at school for an extra 15 minutes afterwards.
Yeah.
Sobel and I will be celebrating on next week's Cognizant Classic edition of the Early Wedge when Patrick Cantlay wins, and we will celebrate. We'll talk about it, and I will be in the top 25% and higher in the Early Wedge OAD Challenge. Guys, another great show. You guys
got
in the
Gerard
chat were
next
awesome.
week? Is that right,
What's
EC? You got Gerard next week?
Ryan Gerard and Jake Knapp.
Okay.
All right.
Maybe I'll try to get a gift for you for the show next week.
Oh, okay.
We'll see.
I like that. Okay, fair enough. Hopefully it's not a set of PXGs.
No.
Okay.
Well, I'd have to ask Nap that, but yeah, you're right.
Okay, fair enough. Guys, another great show. Great job, everybody in the chat. Producer Matt did a great job. Josh, great to have you here as always. For Jason Sobel, Sia Nejad, Patrick McDonald, I'm Eric Cohen. And as I always like to say, let's hit it big. Good luck.